Welcome back to Comic Wars. I do apologize for a little bit of a late episode tonight, but I did end up passing out on the couch. I was just exhausted from work, so let's get into it though. So these two characters that you guys can see on the screen in round 2, episode 13 of Comic Wars, we have Spawn, the ultimate Hellspawn, versus Kayako Saeki, the Begrudging Onryo. Spirit that's basically haunting because of a grudge, hence the name of her movie, The Grudge. But these two combatants have had to go and make it past characters that were directly like them. You had the Revenant Scorpion, who faced off against Spawn, and Spawn was able to demolish him just because he was overwhelmingly more powerful. There was some similarities, but end of the day, Spawn was better equipped. And then you had Kayako Saeki, who took on Samara from The Ring. Very, very similar power sets. End of the day, it came down to Kayako Saeki's ability to consume curses and to remove curses, change them, things like this. Quite powerful. And that's really what The Ring was about. It was a curse. Now, the same goes for her, but Samara had no way of really handling a curse being removed. And because they're just essentially Onryo, they would just keep doing battle. And it would be never ending until the curse was removed, or they would just keep going. But they had their own ways of how they had to be summoned, so it would have technically involved other victims that would have to have essentially led Kayako there, or Samara to Kayako. So regardless, end of the day, that's how that movie in Japan was created, actually. They went over it pretty in-depth. But before we get into the actual combat scenarios, and before we start breaking everything down, let's get into the overview. So first things first, if we had a guest, this is where we would have those guest intros, where we would introduce them, where we would have a little witty banter, talking back and forth, and then of course get their guesses. This is a good chance for you guys to also throw your guesses down in the comment section or in the chat. If I'm not able to get to the chat on YouTube, that's because I don't have YouTube up, because running an internet browser at the same time is basically impossible right now, and I have no idea why. But after that, then we get into the background details. This is where we start going over their personality, where they where they haunt or hang out, or where their main area of operation is going to be. We go over their height, their weight, their age, their experience, and of course little tidbits about them. Sometimes, and especially this season, there's been a lot more in the background details that actually carries over into the rest of the combat feats, such as strength and things like this, that actually play a huge factor. So this is where, when you get in height, you typically have reach is going to be one of the big key factors here, and weight. Why weight? Because when you throw a powerful punch, you can throw your weight into it for an extra boost of power. But after that, after we get out of the background details and we get into the feats, this is where we start really calculating out their greatest strength feats, durability, speed and agility, martial prowess, ingenuity. If they use weapons or gadgets, we include those, and of course their powers. This would also include, for instance, if there was a character that used spells, this is where this would also be included as well, as under powers. Alright. After that, then we get into the data analysis, and as you guys have probably typically seen, especially those that are returning, for those that haven't, well, I'll explain it out. Typically, we also include data analysis in with the feats, but not always. Sometimes we actually have to break it down further. So you'll see me talk about it a little bit and then break it down. After that, then we get into the character pros and cons, which is essentially where we start breaking things down, who wins and why, but it's not quite exactly that easy. It's more or less, what strengths and weaknesses do they have against each other and against themselves? And then we start kind of labeling those. And then, of course, we get into the guest analyses. This also includes you guys as well in the chat or in the comment section down below. Feel free. Let's discuss it. If we had a guest, this is where we would discuss if maybe they decide they want to go and change their who they believe wins. This is where we get into that. And we just talk about these things. Maybe they don't agree with something in the character pros and cons, or maybe the data analysis or something. Then we talk. This is all about discussion here. And then after that, then we get into the outcome, which is essentially we figure out who wins and why. This season has been a lot more of the scenario basis. Basically, what this means is there's characters that basically they're so evenly matched overall that we have to look at the scenarios, which means we made a good choice on these character matchups. So, and of course after that, then we get to the preview and then any other announcements for the rest of the week or the following week. But let's get into it. Let's get right into our first combatant, Spawn. Alrighty, so this is, Spawn is the creation of Todd McFarlane of Image Comics. Spawn's real name is Al Simmons. He is, as for all intents and purposes, he's 40 years old. He is 6 foot 11 inches tall. This is with his suit. Keep in mind he's undead. And in his suit, he weighs approximately 450 pounds. As for his occupation, he's a vigilante / Hellspawn general. And his area of operation is New York City, not New York City, New York. And his personality is cold, brooding, intelligent, cunning, and pessimistic. He's very down on himself, to say the least. Little tidbits about him. Well, Spawn has crossed over into several different universes, including the DC Universe, Invincible, and Wildcats. Oops. As for his strength, well, he's got superhuman level strength. He's capable of lifting and throwing a large chunk of a building, which, if you were to weigh it out, it'd be roughly about 60,000. It would be at least 60,000 pounds, my apologies. And he can easily punch through solid concrete and steel. That takes quite a bit of force right there. But be able to lift that's pretty nuts. As for his durability, he was capable of withstanding a fall from at least 30,000 feet. He survived an electrical blast of at least 600,000 volts. Completely shrugged it off. Can walk through lava and hellfire. He tanks blows from Savage Dragon, who's capable of lifting 340 tons. Keep this in mind, this does translate into punching power, because the lifting, he's bench pressing. Which 340 tons comes out to 680,000 pounds. Keep in mind, he tanked those blows. He's got an extreme pain tolerance. He can survive unfazed without his organs as well. This includes his brain, his heart, you name it. He can survive without it. As for speed and agility, he can easily dodge point-blank gunfire. He broke the sound barrier mid-combat, which is taking about 770 miles per hour. His maximum movement speed, only seen in short bursts, is 1/10 the speed of light. So this guy goes very similarly to the Flash for a short little burst. As for his combat capabilities, well, he's mastered Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, Karate, Kung Fu, Jeet Kune Do, Aikido, Taekwondo, Boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Hapkido, Muay Thai, Ninjutsu, and American Karate. There's a difference between American Karate and Karate. So when it comes down to it, it's not about the movements per se. It's more about the striking precision and power versus Karate, which is a lot smoother. It's more about, I don't want to say necessarily about precision, as it really is. It's more precise, but it's not necessarily about the power. It's about self-defense, preservation, and, of course, making sure it is done correctly. It's more about the efficiency of it, but it's not about the power by any means. American Karate is far different. It's about that speed, that power. That's going to be your primary premise there. As for his ingenuity, well, he relies on his suit for recovery, defense, and offense. He's incredibly cunning, and he's also a master planner. And as for his powers, well, chain manipulation, reality warping, power nullification, black hole creation, darkness manipulation, time stopping capabilities, intangibility, telepathic, empathetic manipulation, explosion manipulation, poison manipulation, enhanced senses, superhuman strength, superhuman speed, necro energy, which is going to be his undead energy. Keep in mind, undead energy here. Precognition, shapeshifting, healing, resurrection, teleportation, illusion creation, demon conjuration, resistance to time manipulation, and complete regeneration. This guy's got a whole lot of, you can't touch this. And we're talking, this is MC Spawn. He took over for MC Hammer. He just totally just says, nah, I can't touch this. And that's all he basically says here. You want to try and hit him? Okay, good luck. But this is what he brings to the table. And I want you guys to note a few things here because they are going to play a key factor in any fight with Kayako. So, I want you guys to figure out what those are, of course. But what does Kayako bring into the fight? Oh, I forgot about his weapons. His weapons. He comes with the Walther MPK, Beretta 92 FS Inox, Mossberg M500 Bullpup, Steyr AUG, M60 two-sided axe. He's got a K7 Aletha suit, the cape, and chains. Okay, so is it really going to matter in this fight? No. So we don't even need to even really talk about his weaponry because it literally will do nothing to Kayako. Well, what does Kayako bring him? Kayako Saeki was actually created by Takashi Shimizu. Sorry if I butchered your name there. She was 30 years old at the time of her death. As for her height, she's approximately 5'5" tall, so quite a bit shorter than Spawn. As for her weight, we don't really know. She's a spirit, but she's tangible. She's almost kind of like a resurrected body, but she's not. She's still a spirit, but she can physically touch somebody. She can do all sorts of things. Yeah, we'll get into it. Her area of operation is going to be the Saeki household, which means the fight is going to take place with Spawn going to the Saeki household for whatever reason. As for personality, well, she's vengeful. That's strictly it. There is no other personality there. Other than you entered her home, therefore you have now obtained her grudge. Which means she comes after you. Some miscellaneous information about her. Well, Kayako was obsessed with an American professor, Peter Kirk. As for her strength, well, we know she's got superhuman strength. She's capable of breaking human bones, which requires at least 1,700 pounds per square inch. Her durability is unknown because, well, it's assumed average adult human female level. We don't know because, end of the day, nobody's tried to hurt her. Her speed and agility, she's capable of teleportation. However, she always crawls on her hands and feet at her opponents with differing speeds. Sometimes she goes very quick, sometimes she goes very, very slow. Combat capabilities, well, there's no known combat training, assumed none. She was essentially a housewife, that's all she really was, at the time of her death. Her ingenuity, she relied on her opponents to enter her former place of residence. So, there's no real ingenuity here. You want to go against her, you enter her home. Essentially, is how this breaks down. Her powers, though, she comes with invisibility, necromancy. Those that she kills can become part of the curse. So, if she were able to kill Spawn, she could literally make him part of the curse. Curse removal, curse manipulation, illusion creation, telekinesis, telepathy, hair manipulation. This includes with her hair because it is physically tangible. Darkness manipulation, shadow wraith form. Once again, this is using her darkness manipulation. Partially. She's got paralysis inducement, shape-shifting, death manipulation, possession, dream manipulation, and teleportation. So, What do you guys think? Who do you think takes this fight? Do we have any takers on the Onryo? Going once, going twice. Sold to no one. Any takers on Spawn claiming the victory here? Going once, going twice. Still no takers. All right. Well, we don't need to really break anything down here because at the end of the day, it comes down to tangibility. We don't know if she's tangible. That being said, we're going to go and skip data analysis. We don't need to get into it. Not a whole lot. So we're going to get into the character pros and cons. So Spawn has to enter her household. It's the only way this fight's going to actually occur. So this fight, no matter what, is in the Kayako, or the Saeki household. No matter what.